Hi, everybody. This is day 1448 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. This is a capital murder case. There's no other option. It's not what we would have chosen. It's where the evidence, the hard evidence, the circumstantial evidence, and the irregularities have absolutely declared. Yeah, excuse me. So let's see if I'm on. Let's see if it's all working. Okay, so here we go. So something is happening. We have confirmation from a national organization that they are moving forward and moving forward on uh, putting together a a lawsuit that will help our son's case. And we know that there is so much going on surrounding Richard's case because of the Walmart mass shooting case, because of comparing Richard's case to Vanessa Guillen, because they're so much alike. And of course, what happened with Vanessa Guillen was such a disaster to the Department of Defense that they didn't want another Guillen situation. And of course, um, you know, the chaos, the trouble, well, I don't want to call it trouble, the justice. You know, Lady Justice found her rightful place in July of 2020 in Vanessa Guillen's case. And when those that cover up, that manipulate, that participate in a crime such as that start getting in trouble, when Lady Justice finds her rightful place, there's a lot of crying and gnashing of teeth. Remember at the very beginning, years ago, I would say there was crying and gnashing of teeth. And absolutely, that is what was happening at the time, is happening now in Richard's case. And you see them crying and gnashing of teeth because of everything coming out, people coming forward and giving us information. And I just want to thank Team Five Richard Halliday so much for this, because we knew on October 26th. Can you imagine? October 26th of 2020, that the Army has been deceiving us, right? Has been participating in this deception about Nadal Bayim. And they absolutely know who he is. They, are in business. They have financial dealings with him. And that LLC. And so when he walked into the Dollar General and asserted his power, when you are, I should have got me a drink. When you are, sorry, when you have authority like an FBI agent has authority, or you have connections with the supervisory director of the FBI there, Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., and with that family, and you are the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado, you feel like you have some power, and he abused his power. And he went into that Dollar General as an FBI agent, and he wanted Richard's flyers taken down, and he wanted to absolutely silence the cashier. That happened on October 26, 2020. And I want to talk about these next few days until October 29th, 2020, because I think it's very important because nothing in the military happens without legal ramifications, major social pressure. You have to understand when they make a decision, when something big happens, they're such political creatures at this high level that once you understand it and you see the timeline, you're like, okay, okay, because we know things happened on October 22nd too. But I want to talk about really October 26th, Nadal Bayim, and everything that he is about because he went to school in a British school. He absolutely has international experience. He has a record. He has a record. He has property. Um, he's not just a nobody, right? And the LLCs expose even more. And I'm not at liberty to say just yet, okay, because some things have to happen before I can expose the LLCs, the Blue Party Hall, and of course, there's a few more. There's a lot more, um, because uh, of just waiting for certain documents to come back. But the Blue Party Hall, and of course, the Western Frontier Trading LLC, which is very, very clear. Um, it is just hard evidence that Nadal Baim was not just a crazy guy following um, us on Facebook. You know, oh yeah, let's go watch the mother um, suffer, right? No, that's not Nadal Baim. He had an invested interest in Richard's case. He has a connection. He absolutely has conflicts of interest, and that's all coming out. So on the 26th, he walks in and he abuses his power and he wants to silence the cashier. So this is a power play. And the power play doesn't end there because we turned in all of that to Zach. I wrote it down here and I turned my page. Um, Zach Roberts, FBI agent Zach Roberts. We turned in everything to him, and we turned everything because we were looking at Rob's journal today, everything what it said in the week following, um, and later because we even went to Eustis for the meeting. Things like that you just never forget um, the deception, the absolute deception. And we knew it, and we called them out, and of course, we reported right away with the videos that we had received, the CCTV footage, and also the video of the cashier. We absolutely reported those to Zach Roberts, the FBI agent that was assigned to us as a point of contact, and also to Marlon Soto, the lead agent there at the CID at Fort Bliss. And he's so dirty, right? He's so dirty, and I believe everything smells of it that Zach Roberts is dirty because we gave them the CCTV footage, we gave them the video of the cashier and her testimony, and anybody in their right mind would absolutely investigate that and take it seriously. It's just that powerful. And now we're finding out even more behind Nadal Baim. And, besides Waco tanks, right? Besides Waco tanks, um, it's his connection to these LLCs and the LLCs not really being, um, because I checked them out, and you're like, oh, this is Southwest gear like purses and blankets and whatever. No, this he was bidding for up to $3 million worth of ammunition. Okay, and we want to know where that ammunition comes from. Um, he is not just a nobody. And where else, like, is it the fire department? Is it the sheriff's department that he is, putting bids in for, to supply them? In this case, it's ammunition and munitions. So some kind of small bomb or whatever, I guess. Um, I guess, I don't know. That's just from reading ammunition and munition. That's what I've taken from it. But so this is serious business. And we're just told he's just some crazy guy? No, no. And we did not get a response. You would think we would get a response, but what they tried to do right from the very beginning of this information was to bury it. They wanted to bury it. They wanted to first take the edge off of everything, calm everybody, whatever, and then they wanted to bury it. Absolutely. Um, because Nadal Baim, who they say he's not an FBI agent. Well, why isn't he arrested? What's going on? You cannot just pose as an FBI agent and tamper with a case, tamper with a murder case. So it's absolutely, the whole thing is stinky. Nothing makes sense until you start looking at names. One thing about Ireland, if you want to know about the travelers, because the travelers are some problems um, with thievery and things like this, being conned and whatever. And so they're like, just beware when you're doing business with them. And when I first got there, I was like, well, how would I know? How would I know who I doing business with if they are a traveler or not? Like a gypsy. And they're like, you know them by their name. You know them by their name. And so names are starting to come together and, uh, repeat themselves, and we are starting to know by people's names. So um, we did not receive, with all the information that we gave them, we did not receive really a proper response at all. I think I was yelling at Marlon Soto, what are you talking about? Because it was just so swept under the table, under the mat, whatever you want to say. And and our notes reflect that frustration of trying to complain, wanting to know the information from the material that we gave them. And so, let's say we're on day 28. Well, the very October uh, 29th, we received a phone call from General James McConville And the provost marshal sitting next to him, Donna Martin, the CID director at the time, right? And that doesn't happen, right? That just doesn't happen. And for it to happen less than 3 days after Nadal Baim walked into that Dollar General also is a confirmation that they have Richard's remains. Because a four-star general at the level of General McConville just doesn't call um, a number and have this conversation. That's just so unprofessional. He should have arranged a meeting, right, where we would go in for a conference call, right? Something like that. Um, so that is a confirmation that something is not right. And what did General McConville want to talk to us about? He wanted to divert our attention to a hope called the Task Force Find Richard Halliday. And we know that when they came for the task force a good month later, they were out of uniform. Um, they were just totally out of uniform, and that General Stewart confirmed to us that they did not have an op order. There was no op order, and that's why it wasn't a success. So that is, thank you, Anicia, for coming on. So that is a really big news today. It's been uh, a very eventful day because we did receive more information about Waco tanks. I hope I said that right. Is it Waco tanks? Um, and some things that are out there, some coordinates that are out there. And so we're waiting to see if they have found anything from the information that we gave them. So that is really it's huge, and we have some breaking news, but we couldn't address it today because we were working on some other things that came up last night, right? And we have good news on that front, but I just don't think I'm at liberty to say. But it's very positive news, and we're very grateful for it. Um, and I wish I could tell everybody, but I'm going to try to protect somebody, right? So if you listened last night, you might have some idea. And it's working out pretty positive. So that's really good. Um, the big news is these LLCs. We are stepping into checking out the LLCs. So say a prayer for us, and thank you so much. And um, please share, because there's something going on. And of course, on TikTok. And if we get shut down, just go over to McGuffey'sOnlineTutor.com. Or we're working on RichardHalliday.com too. So, yeah, we absolutely have backup just in case, because we get reported. I have to do these, um, appeals and stuff like that, and and we have good luck with those because we try to stay very, uh, try not to act in anger. Sometimes I want to, try not to act out in anger, and think things through before we post them and say them. And so you can really depend on us for giving you clear information that we've been taken. You know, the audits are showing it. The audits are showing it. Um, thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. I just need to, I know I have to take a moment just to pray and say thank you to God, to you, to those that are in the agencies and the the organizations, the institutions that have been waiting for this time to come so that they can lend a meaningful hand without being retaliated against, because we're continuing. We are absolutely being retaliated against. We have to stop and write reports. We don't want anyone to have to go through what we're going through, and so we just have to take a moment out to pray and tell God, thank you so much, for everyone to stick with us. We're way over, what, 4,200 on TikTok, and here we've been at the same number for such a long time because we're being shadow banned. And you have to make an extra effort to find us, and to share, and you have, and we really appreciate it. And please don't stop, because for justice, you have to have, of course, just courts, which we're working on, but you have to have force multipliers. You have to have the media. You have to have the communion of the saints to share the truth, the case. It's very, very important to have the force multiplier. And how I describe it to our children is, it's the communion of the saints, right? They're getting the word out. They're getting the good news out that Lady Justice is taking her rightful place. And that means a lot to El Paso. They have a beautiful Lady Justice, and I've been thinking about her a lot. That's why I'm having that message today. And when when we hear that a national organization is making moves to help us, that is amazing. And because this has absolutely, um, we are exposing those that never ever thought that they could ever be exposed or have to be held accountable, because they have unjust institutional support, because of the corruption. And we are exposing that. We've exposed Mario Raskin Ortiz. We've exposed Bill Hicks. We've exposed Jesus Nieto. We've exposed his wife, Cynthia Hernandez, who also has a very important position in security. We've exposed so many, and now we're going to expose those behind these LLCs that are absolutely connected to Nadal Beam and Bradford Bugado. And, it explains the motive, what they had to lose, their criminal activity that Richard was exposing with this criminal trafficking. And it just is all coming together. And look, Leilani Hart is starting to come out a little bit, because she's been hiding behind fake profiles and fake pages, and she's has this unjust support, because she must have a lot of dirt on people, y'all. She must have a lot of dirt on people. Or through the LLCs, they have a lot to lose. Um, and, I just want to tell them, you know, criminal activity like that, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at the end. It's going to come back and haunt you. And it hurts so many people. Just hurts so many people. So it is really amazing that we are getting accountability. You might not see it, but we're getting some accountability, y'all. Justice um, moves slow, but grinds fine, and it's all happening. So thank you so much. Please be the force multiplier and get this information out there. That not Nadal Baim is somebody. He's somebody because he's part of a business that is selling munition up to $3 million. And then the father-in-law of G3 32nd ADCOM, Bradford Bugado, and also the conflicts of interest with Jesus Nieto, the FBI supervisory director for El Paso. And, of course, Nadal claimed to be FBI and exposed that they have Richard's remains, that they found Richard's remains in Juarez, Mexico. And they will, I don't know if we'll ever get the admission that Richard's remains were found in Mexico. Partial remains were found in Mexico. Um, I think they're going to try to really make it be in El Paso. That's they and partial remains, I'm sure, because that the FBI were just let's just go over to Mexico, and they don't even have to let the Mexican president know, or they don't have to let Mexico know what they're doing, or do they have? I just don't understand that whole jurisdiction, but I understand this. How can the FBI just go start looking around in another country, right? And collecting remains, because that's exactly what Nadal Baim said. And he was being genuine. He was being genuine to the cashier, and it's in that video, and you can see it. You can see it for your own with your own eyes. So thank you, everyone. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing.